Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have our state representative from District 150 back with us again. I had to get with Matt before you head up to the Capitol here in just a little while. When do y'all convene?
Well, we actually start on the 9th, Monday on the 9th, but I'll be there on the 3rd. We've got meetings all of next week.
Well, you meet all year.
Oh, we're always meeting.
I mean,
we love to meet. You know, we're a meeting group.
You know, people say, "Oh, that's an easy job, man. They don't meet 40 days a year." But I actually learned back from Senator Tolleson when he was serving that it's not just a 40-day.
Right.
And that's just 40 days in session. Y'all will
Correct.
break for a week, try to get legislation together, even during the time you're
we'll
up
be
there.
we'll be in 3 or 4 days next week, or 2 weeks from now on the 9th, 10th, and 11th, and then could be in on the 12th. Don't know yet. Then we'll be out that next week, and then we start back the next week, and it's just we've got 40 days of session. And you have days between days of session that are committee days where you actually have some more meetings, and you actually get legislation moving because it's got to go through a committee before it comes to the floor. So,
how do you stay organized? I know when I'm up there, it just seems like mass chaos, and I'm sure it's organized chaos for you, but to me, it's just like people bumping into each other. And
well, the longer you're there, the more. I guess I'd say if hopefully you're working and doing the right things, you become more in demand.
Right.
And then you kind of start realizing what all these other people are up there that are working. They're kind of making sure you're in the right place at the right time. And I it's kind of like bumper cars on, like you're moving here and there, and you're going from you're supposed to be in one meeting like in the afternoon at 2, and there should be another one at 3, and then if you're presenting bills, sometimes you could be supposed to be at your committee hearing bills, and you're supposed to be presenting your bill at another committee, and you'll leave and come back. I mean, you can't let it bother you, but I mean, you do the best you can and get to where where you need to be. And if there's a committee that needs some more people in it, then you'll see people start texting.
Yeah.
We need you in here. We need you in here. So it's this will be my 7th session. So and you learn something every session. So I mean every time. There's a lot of the longer you're there, the more you do learn, and it's been interesting, and to move up and be involved in some of the decisions and some at the table, when the meetings that are discussing things where we're headed. So
yeah. I remember the first year you were up there, we were up, and I think we both felt alike. You trying to find your way around, and I'm trying to find my way around. And of course, I didn't know the rules a lot, and there I go running down the aisle, and here comes the sergeant at arms and chasing me. Now, you can't be out here. I said, well, that's my representative right there. You had to clear the way for me, but they want you to go in the is it the
side door,
cloak room, or what?
Ante rooms.
What do you call it?
Ante room.
Ante room. Yeah. Okay. And where'd that name come from?
I have no
idea. I asked you something that neither one of us know.
No idea.
Well,
they're on. You come in over there, but then it's just I think that first year, I think Ross had to kick me out of his office. I stayed at Ross's office trying to get him to help me figure out what to do on things. So.
In the committees, people think you're just in the Capitol. You do a lot of meetings across the street.
Most of the committee meetings are across the street.
Yeah, because
Coverdale.
The first committee I sit in on was I remember sitting next to Rusty Kidd over there, and
it's probably
Miss Cooper.
Health and Human Services.
Cooper,
right?
I remember that right? Is she
Chairman
still in?
She's still the chairman of Health and
What
Human
a
Services.
wonderful.
She's great. I've had meetings with her over the last 3 weeks, at least one a week. Last 3 weeks.
And where's she from?
She's from East Cobb, Marietta area.
Yeah, just as cordial as she can be. Took me up to her office, and she had all kind of paraphernalia, and I had a million questions, but that's got to be a lot of fun. I know Rusty's left, hasn't he?
Right,
He didn't run for re-election, health problems, health situation.
He's got a lot going on, but I think he's doing good.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. What a wonderful man, though. He served his constituents well.
And he knew it. He knew the process well from his dad, and then he was, he worked as a lobbyist beforehand, so he knew the game.
Yeah.
So
before I get into all these questions, as I was looking back the first year you went in, some of the commercials we ran, and I was noticing how young.
How much weight out there, Mike?
No, how young Camille and Emily were.
Oh, wow.
It
Today
just shows you.
Today is Cammie's 18th birthday.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's what I.
She was 11 when I went in. So.
Yeah. Just.
Time flies.
It does. It shows you. The older we get.
I'm not getting older.
Okay. Well, we'll skip on over that one. But
my hair's a lot silverer than it was.
Hey, but I never thought I got older till I had kids, and you see them growing up, and of course now I got a 32-year-old and a 30-year-old and 3 grandkids, and you say, well, what happened? You know, and the book of James tells us that life's a vapor and then we vanish. And I can't think of nothing truer than that Bible verse. But when you look back at pictures, like, you know, as I was reminiscing about your family, but so she's a senior?
She's a senior at West Morris,
okay.
right.
And
Emily a junior at Mercer.
Okay.
So she's doing great.
And how involved, you know, because Kim is back and forth. I know she goes to a lot of things with you, so she's real involved.
She doesn't go to she doesn't go as much as she wants to because of her store.
That's right.
She's at the store. Plus, with the girl, you know, Cammie's still at home. She's trying to be at home as much as she can. And
well, don't just say the store. I mean, let's plug. What store are you talking about?
Plum Alley.
Yeah. Okay. Kim, please forgive him for that.
I'm sorry.
Mean, you're supposed to throw that in there. You know, plug her business.
Plug it. Plum Alley.
That's right. Plum Alley, huh? So you continue to be in the Republican caucus, right?
Yes.
How many years is that?
Well, since I've been there. So
okay.
Republican since I've been there, and this is my second term. Well, this will be my 4th year as the chairman of the caucus. So which means that when we have a meeting at least once a week, and it means I run that meeting. So and then out of session, when we're not in session and during election season, I'm very involved in the re-election of all of our members. So
how many's on that committee, the caucus?
The caucus, we've got 118 members of the caucus. So, it's
that's a lot of obligation there.
Hear a lot from a lot of people. So it's been.
And you being chairman of that caucus, you know, I think about never in my life and growing up here, I never remember a governor of Georgia coming to Dublin so often, or the Speaker of the House.
Well, he's been here a good bit.
I know. Is that one of the reasons you being on the caucus and having that relationship?
I would like. I mean, I don't know.
Just say yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got a good relationship with the Speaker and the Governor. So I mean, he's a small town Georgia boy himself, born in Sandersville. So he knows what it's like in the rural parts of the state. And I think, as most of us up there that we're from rural Georgia, we like to be back in rural Georgia. We like to get out of Atlanta. So.
And his rural roots show, because even every time I see him, which is many times now, or at the Capitol or whatever, he knows who I am.
Well, y'all are cousins, you know.
Well, he claims me during election time is what I tell him, but you can tell, and I've met presidents and governors, but he's one that, and same with Miss Deal, you know, they take the time to talk with you. I remember he came to Saxon Heights one year, and y'all were all the dignitaries over there waiting on him, and he gets out of the state patrol car, sees me, and of course walked right to me. And we get to talking. I said, when you get through with everything, Governor, I got a story I want to share with you. He said, well, tell me now, you know. And we start talking about, he likes to carry a knife with him. Miss Deal had told me he likes to carry his pocket knife. That's that country boy in him. And the state patrol, when he got elected, kept telling him, Governor, you can't keep carrying that knife. It's causing a problem. And why do you need it? And of course, you know why a country boy totes a knife. I mean, different rig, fingernail, or a little thread on your coat. But he pulls out his knife for me, going into school, and John Strickland sees him. He said, Governor, you don't see that sign up there. You know, you can't carry a knife in the school. And of course, ain't nobody gonna tackle the governor. You know, especially I didn't even qualify for a knife. But you know, he always remembers things, and he is just down to earth. And he has helped Lawrence County a lot.
He has, and we've got a lot. You know, we've got a lot of stuff continuing to go on with our economic development issues. Or not issues, great things that are happening, and they're very involved. Although you may not see them on the front end. They're involved. The state, he is, and the state economic development.
Explain to our viewers, and it's in the news a lot now with our president-elect helping the carrier plant up in Indiana, and people talking about tax breaks. And of course, I always look at the breakdown, you know, the tax breaks they gave that carrier plant. People don't think of the payroll taxes, you know, that are coming down. But for us to get industry into our communities, we have to do certain tax breaks, don't we?
Right.
And that's where the governor and the Georgia Department of Economic Development things come in.
You know, the state has certain things they'll do for any community, you know, and a little more sometimes for areas that are more rural and less economically, you know, doing well. So there's different things the state will do, and depending on how many jobs and industries bring in, how much of an investment they're making, different you know, packages, I guess you could say, that are being done for those industries. And we've got a great economic development team.
Yep.
They work well with the state economic development team, and we've had some great successes along the years.
Yep.
And we're right now, because of some things we've done locally that have made us attractive, and we've got you know, Valmera and Erdrich and, you know, the Polymer Logistics, and we've got other.
That mega
we've
site.
got other. The mega site.
We're poised for great things.
We've got. 2017 could be a great year for Lawrence County.
Yeah.
I mean, in Middle Georgia, and I say that I always add the Middle because, you know, Lawrence County has become sort of, you know, a little economic hub for the surrounding counties.
We're town. I mean, we're where a lot of people come. But as I ride by the mega site this past week, watching them clear the land and prepare for what might come, even though there's no announcements. But you know, the city of East Dublin's extended their city limit so they can provide services and police protection and things. But I can. You know, me and my wife the other day stopped and looked, and I said, "Hon," I said, in 10, 15 years, there's no telling what we're going to see on that mega site.
Right.
Major, like the Caterpillar Company, or not the Caterpillar Company, but things like that.
You know, I think we've seen too, and it's a good example of how this system works with one of the companies that's announced. One of their big concerns was labor force, and they're adding 400 jobs to their existing industry, and they have had no problem finding qualified, you know, employees, because they're coming from all over, and it's kind of like the building they will come, and that is true. I mean, you get a good company with good paying jobs, people are going to come wherever.
And from everywhere.
Because once they get here, it's, you know, they're not gonna go away. I mean, they're going to find out this is a great community.
That's a domino effect, because I had lunch out a few months ago. The Development Authority fed all the people out at Eldridge, and of course they were people sitting there from Dublin, Orange County that I grew up with, and then one guy at my table was from Chicago, and one was from South Georgia, and I said, well, how did y'all find out about this place? And trade magazines and things like that. But they'd come here with their families. Their kids are in school. They bought homes. They're contributing to the community. So it just, of course, you and I growing up here, we're not the little town that we grew up in.
We're not.
But we have a beautiful community, beautiful downtown. And you mentioned the Development Authority, also the Downtown Development Authority. And of course, our Dublin City Council and Lawrence County Board of Commissioners just, you know, if there's something good to go on, they get together and figure it out and move the brine, get the dirt moved in, whatever we got to do. But you got to admit, versus other communities, without calling names in the state, our community works so well together.
Work very well together.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big plus. It's very comforting when I get asked stuff and to know that our, you know, there may be a little here, a little there, but they all, you know, all your different entities come together to do what's right for our area.
Yeah.
So.
I was in Jessup this week for something, and a guy asked where I was from, and you say Dublin, Georgia, and immediately people, the smile on their face, man, Dublin, man, y'all doing it up there. I wish we had the.
Well, in the interstate, you know, the interstate, everybody's
Yeah.
That's what they think Dublin is the interstate. But I said, come on into
There's
town.
a lot more to Dublin.
Come on into town.
Yeah, there's a lot more to Dublin. Our restaurants and, so many things downtown and throughout the community. But let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and continue our conversation with Matt Hatchett.
So here's the kitchen. This is perfect.
Wait, this house uses just electric?
Yeah.
That'll never work. How can we expect to cook under these conditions?
So what do you think?
I think this is a wonderful house to raise our family in.
It is natural gas though, right?
It's kind of all electric.
Natural gas sells homes, so choose natural gas.
Brought to you by the City of Dublin.
Welcome back, everybody. I have our District 150. I said District 143 for years, didn't I?
That's right. That's what it was when I went in, 143. And then we that was my first session. We had redistricting.
Redistrict. So, move right on up to 150. Huh?
That's not good. That means there's 100.
Yeah.
The population has moved north.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Absolutely. We talked about you being the chairman of the House Republican Caucus. I was reading on y'all's webpage a quote by Ronald Reagan. It says, "Let us be sure that those who come after will say of us in our time that in our time we did everything that could be done. We finished the race, we kept them free, and we kept the faith." And of course, President Reagan in my lifetime was, to me, the best president we've had. That's my own personal opinion. He came in and we were in such a terrible economic situation, and he made it great to be an American again. As you know, when he come in office, we saw flags flying everywhere and flags on people's front porches, and they put people back to work again. And the environment in Georgia, I feel like we've been in that situation for a few years now. We went through some tough times back 07, 08, during that time.
The whole country did.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole country did.
But with Governor Deal coming in, you came into office, and people like-minded like you, and we're the #1 place to do business.
Right.
I mean, and there's
for
a lot of people
for 4 years
involved.
going.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of people, and it's just it's working together to try to do what's right for the whole state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what that quote said. I mean, you're trying to do the best you can do.
Yeah.
It may not be where it needs to be, and I tell people this all the time with legislation, and I have to tell what we call freshmen, new guys coming in. Everybody's like I was. We have all these great ideas, which are great, and you want to get them done, but you get up there and you realize, wow, this is going to be a little harder than I thought, And if you get just a little bit of it, 10% of what you're in the right direction, then you've succeeded. Yeah. And I mean, because the old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. Well, it wasn't, and it takes time to get. And that's kind of what's happened with our budget, with everything. We've built back up the reserve fund to over $2 billion, which was in Governor Deal, I'd say, when he came in office. He's like, "Hey, I won it." It's like, then reality sets in, saying, "Governor, we've only got reserve funds or emergency funds to operate the state for 2 days." And I mean, so you've got to correct thing and try to get stability is what I think. Even when the present speaker took over, which was before I got there, but he brought stability back into the House of Representatives, and I think the governor has done that. In his office, and there have been some head-beaten times, and luckily I wasn't in the room when those occurred. But
negotiation, nobody gets everything they want. No. If you do, it's not a good negotiation.
No. And that's I think you're gonna see a lot of that in Washington in the next couple of years.
Yep.
I mean, and that's what our new president is.
Yeah.
He's a deal maker.
Yeah, he's a negotiator. I mean,
and
he
understands. Hey, I want this. You want this. Let's move in the right.
Yeah, let's work.
Let's get here, or let's move in the right direction.
And that's how it should be. We should not live by executive orders. We're not a kingdom with a king or a dictator. We want to work together. I mean, and I know that's got to be satisfaction for you that. When you get in that room, beat heads, but you come to terms and you shake hands, you dust yourself off, and you go on to the next issue.
And you think we're all alike, and we all got the same ideals and same goals, but It's not.
No.
You know, everybody's different.
And that's great.
And that's you get. You know, I've gone in some meetings thinking I want this.
Yeah.
And I go and you listen. No, you listen to your your colleagues, and you're like, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can change.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you end up with a train wreck.
That's right.
And you know, Jim Marshall back when he was running,
Great
you know, he was saying, how many years ago was that? 15 years ago, that you had the far left and the far right that were coming into control, and the middle was getting, and nothing was getting done.
Yeah.
So that's when the bureaucrats take over, and I think you're gonna, it's gridlock,
Yeah.
and I think that's what this past election spoke to the world. You know, we're tired of gridlock. We want to see something. Yeah. We want to see something happening.
It's like and the average person put President-elect Trump in office. You know, people out blue collar workers, and in our lives in church or school or PTA or city council, whatever. We work together. Right. If we didn't,
and you don't
we
always
wouldn't have the community.
And you don't always agree.
No, and
you don't.
That's
healthy.
That's you get. I mean, and you just hit on it a minute ago. By listening to that other person, whatever board we may serve on, we both serve on different things, but by listening, we learn. Just like you've learned a lot. Right. Going into the meeting, think you know what you want, and you say, "Hey, that is a great idea there." I mean, so by listening to your counterpart there, or you could be a Republican, Democrat. That don't even really matter. You're working for Georgia. You're working for your constituents. So. That's right. But speaking of the caucus, I was looking at some of y'all's principles, but number one on the list is ethical government. And, you know, that was a lot of topic of conversation when you went into office, ethics and ethics reform and all that. But I don't hear about it a lot. So something's happened.
Yeah, I mean, when we passed some changes in our ethics legislation and our ethics rules, and there was just unrest even in that particular area of the state government. You know, and so there's been changes there, and you know, we've put more money in the budget for that commission to operate, and that's helped. And I mean, it's you know, I serve being on leadership. I serve on the ethics committee. We've had just a couple of meetings, but we get informed of complaints and stuff like that. Usually they're trivial complaints, but there's real things that they're looking at too. And
well, you funded them properly to look into it, because if you strip their funding.
And there's got to be rules. I mean, there's everything's got its rules.
Yeah, so. And we're a country of law-abiding people as a whole. Right. You know, we stop at red lights and stop signs, and we need rules, you know, to have organized community. Ethical government, that's important, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, you got to be up there doing it for the right reasons, and that's how do I say that you could tell the people that are there for their resume and for
that's right. And the workers, the workers from the people like that. And limited government, that's one of y'all's principles. And that's another quote, Reagan, always said that government wasn't the solution to the problem. Government was the problem. So we want limited government, don't we?
We've joked about, and it's not really a joke, but I mean, for every bill that we pass, we ought to get rid of two.
I've asked you before, do y'all ever get rid of anything?
We do. No, we do. We have a committee that's, God, I can't think of the name of the committee, but that's basically what they're
well, that's good to know, though.
We do some bills every year, and a lot of times, usually it's kind of a misnomer, because when you do a law, you're basically changing something that's there, so you might be getting rid of something you're doing anyway. So I mean, it's
fiscal restraint. Why is that important to the caucus?
To make sure that we keep our budget solved. I mean, to keep the government flowing, and
that's why
having that reserve and having having a AAA bond rating, which saves us about $200 million a year in interest. We do borrow money for capital projects because we can, and which includes construction of buildings and bridges and roads, and so it's you know, we've got a fair amount of debt. We're still under all the guidelines that are set by a Constitution that we have to stay under. So, and we're you know, as far as the rating agencies, they like us.
Yep.
We've been good, and we've been fortunate that we've put things in place to attract business, and we've got people moving here to go to work.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, we definitely stayed on the move.
we still like to try to see us reduce some of our personal income taxes. That's kind of a little goal of mine, and I've been fighting that. Just, you know.
Well, stick to your guns on
Oh,
that one.
we are, and it's I mean, it's coming. We're looking at. We always have people looking at different forms of tax reform, and our chairman of Ways and Means, who's Jay Powell out of Camilla. A lot of people know Jay, and he's in this off session. He has had all of his committees really looking at some changes in our tax code, and a lot of the things that we now use internet-wise, digitally, have taken the place of our normal way of life and how we used to do things that did tax revenue, you know, were sales and had a revenue producer, you know, for the state. That really, if you look at them, what's the difference between them and some other things? So I know that they're looking at some additional sales taxes there to help maybe reduce our personal income tax. Some things, you know, like cigarettes.
Yeah.
We're one of the low. Well, I don't want to say we're one of the lowest taxing cigarettes, but you know, there's something there that could change a little bit, and it generates so you can reduce some of your personal income tax that you're collecting, and you've got to have the balance. I know there's a push to get rid of income tax totally, and there's this push and that, but you sort of need you know, we got to have, well, that could be debated too. We need government to protect us.
That's right.
and run things. You know, we're all used to certain things that our government does for us. So you've got to have it. You've got to have some way for it to operate.
Yep.
So you've got to collect taxes, revenue for governments at some way. So let's keep it balanced, and let's, you know, have sales tax, have some property taxes, have some income taxes, and try to keep it at a balance. And it's. I know we're constantly looking at that, and there's the big there's a push for reduction in income taxes, but we've got to do that and try to make sure that we don't affect our bond rating.
Yeah.
Because this, you know, if you go up one little point, one little bit, it's $200 million, and that's a lot of money. Yeah, that's a lot of money for me and me. I don't know about everybody, but that's a lot of money
around our house.
And it's, you know, we want to try to fine tune it, but keep it so that you can leave it. So you can hold on to more of it. You don't have to send more of it.
Well, people need disposable income. That's why.
And that help, and it generates sales. And I mean, it's a cycle.
Yeah, right. I mean, the more money you got to spend, the better it helps the economy. But and one tax, people a lot of times when they hear about it, they'll complain. And one thing stands out to me that when y'all change the ad valorem tax on automobiles. Well, now all I hear is, man, I love that. Man, I just pay when I buy that car. And you know.
Well, they're looking at some of that. There's some abuse there that's being
I'm sure
looked
there's
at. always
abuse.
You know,
but from the regular person on the street, people love that.
One thing I've had quite a bit of calls about over the last 6 months is the school taxes that seniors are paying, and there are counties near us that don't collect any property tax or school tax for their property taxes. So I'm looking at that a little bit just to see, you know, and I tell them all, and I'll tell, you know, I hope there's something we can do, but the money's, you know, you want your schools to operate, you want your schools to be funded, the money's got to come from somewhere. So I mean, you know,
and you know, and I'll probably get some feedback, but I'm for our schools, and no matter how old I get, I want to educate our children. It's either we're going to build more prisons, because, you know, I don't condone crime, but I understand if the person not getting an education and they can't get a job, what are they going to do? They're going to commit a crime to eat or live, to whatever.
To survive.
So, and I'm not condoning it, but I can understand why they do it.
Right.
So we got to educate them. I mean, we got to make sure when they graduate, and of course in our community, I know our graduation rates are up, and having Oconee Fall Line Technical College and Middle Georgian, Georgia Southwestern. I mean, we're really GMC here.
Well,
now.
we've got a great, we've got
There's
all
no
the
excuse.
pieces
Yeah,
right
that's
here
right.
to get, you know, to get an education of a level, however you want, whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
And it, you know, that kind of parlays into what, you know, discussion. What I think is going to be one of our biggest time consumers this session is the education reform issues that Governor Deal has been working on for over 2 years, or since he's been there. He wants, you know, the education system and this running great. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the Opportunity School District amendment failed, and there was a lot of talking back and forth. And I know there's several things out there that are coming our way. What they are, I don't know yet. Yeah. And we hadn't seen what's coming. But I know that we all want to help K through 12 education the greatest we can. You know, I had one of the principals at one of the schools here. I think she stopped me 3 weeks ago, maybe, and started explaining something to me. You know, we passed this legislation last session to eliminate some of the testing that we're doing and allowing teachers to teach more, you know. Well, when we did that, we didn't take that testing, the need for what was being discovered from that testing, out of the evaluation piece for teachers. So you still got to have it for the teachers a bit. So we've got to, you know, things like that we've got to look at and address. And I wish that we could get it so that it was the way when you and I were in school. You know, the teachers taught, and I know we took tests, but I don't know that they took near the number of tests that they're taking now.
There's no.
And you know, you went in that first. Those first few days, and the teacher gave you a quiz. Yeah. You didn't know what in the world it was, but she was trying to see, or he was trying to see where's this class? What have I got here? Yeah. Yeah. And what do I need to teach? What do I need to be teaching? So I just wish we could open it up more, and that's my to letting teachers teach. Amen. But at the same time, I understand if your tax dollars are helping fund all that, they're going to the state, they're coming back, your local tax dollars, there needs to be an accountability. We need to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So how do you do that? And that, you know, there's so many different ways and discussions, and I'm anxious to see what he's going to present. There are a lot of findings. The funding formula, you know, QBE's been around for 30 some odd years, and I'm pretty sure we will fully fund QBE this year for the first time ever. Wow. It's never been fully funded. So I think we will fully fund it, but at the same time, we're looking at this other funding formula that came out of this commission from 2 years ago. So we're looking at it, and you know, if we'd have passed it 2 years ago, there would have been about, I think, and this might be right or wrong, but it seems like there were 9 or 10 systems that actually it would have affected adversly, and they would have lost money in their funding. Well, now if you use the same formula, there's like 80 or 90, you know. So I mean, you know, it's just we've got to figure out, you know.
Yeah, but you got to inspect what you expect. You got to have evaluations. But I know you talk to a lot of educators. No. I know everything we're at together. Usually, there's a few teachers, or I always notice they pull you off to the side.
I tell, and it's just sound corny, I know, but they're in that business, and they know what they're being told to do. I don't necessarily know that because I'm not in the business. So if they see something, if you're in the teaching profession and you're doing something that you're like, what, you know, this is crazy. Send me a message, an email or something, because you know, we pass legislation and we think it's doing this. The State Department gets it, they interpret it, and then it may not even be what we were told this was going to do.
That's right.
And I have no idea what's happening. Yeah. You know, that's just one piece of our
Without
state,
that principle
our state government. Right. It says, hey, you need to know that. I'm like, you know, they start using these acronyms and stuff. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute now. I don't know what you're doing. Slow down. And it's okay. So write it, you know. So then that's how you get stuff to happen. Yeah. And it could be, you know, we did something, the State Department implemented it, and it may not have anything to do with what we thought we were doing.
Yeah. And your heart was in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like,
yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, it's. I hope we can get.
Yeah, and
I don't. You know, I know that the schools and the teachers and the school systems and the schools in rural Georgia have totally different issues than those in the metro world. We all know that.
Yep.
They have different financial needs, everything, and how you balance that out is where we always problems can come about. So.
Well, you hit on the right thing. Matt's email's been appearing as we talk here on the bottom of the screen. Email him any whether it's education or whatever. If you've got instead of getting on Facebook and complaining like a lot of people do, nothing's going to get done. But if they'll email you and it's like you going in the meeting with people, you say, man, I ain't thought of it that way. Right. I didn't know it was affecting our teachers or police officers or sheriff deputies or whatever. But always, I mean, and I can tell you, Matt's very accessible. When I text or email, you may be in a meeting, you always call back, and so Matt is very accessible. So we're going to take another quick break and come back and finish up our conversation with Matt Hatchett, our District 150 representative. At Bank of Dudley, we can make your mortgage experience a pleasurable one. We realize that this is the biggest financial decision most people ever make. The most critical step in purchasing a home is finding a loan that best suits your needs. And that's where we come in at Bank of Dudley, because we know one size does not fit all. Our experienced mortgage professionals will come to you wherever you are. We're available at any of our 5 locations, or we'll come to your business or home. Shirley Clements or Angel Johnson today, creating you a custom mortgage experience with great rates and terms to fit your budget. Quick, honest, and simple. In a hurry? Apply online right now at bankofdudley.com. Bank of Dudley, East Dublin, Jeffersonville, Dudley, Veterans Boulevard, and downtown Dublin. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Welcome back, everybody. Continuing our conversation with our state representative, Matt Hatchett. Matt, good news. We've got a Super Bowl coming back.
That's right.
To Georgia. How about that?
In the new stadium or new stadium. They're not calling it a dome. It's a stadium.
Hey, that thing.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
We were in Atlanta.
It's huge.
Here a few weeks ago, whenever it was, but to see that thing taking shape, literally taking shape.
Right.
But that's exciting. We had a Super Bowl back many years ago, but if y'all hadn't moved on, given a little break on the tickets for sales tax, we wouldn't be getting a Super Bowl. So
well,
I'm glad
that
y'all
was
jumped in.
there was a lot of discussion about that, and it's it bothers some people and some people understand, and it's it's an exemption on the sale of the tickets. There's no other sales tax exemption, and it's legislation that even when we passed it, unless we got the Super Bowl, it didn't have any effect on any sales tax or anything. It's an economic development issue, and the money that's going to come. I can't remember the numbers they showed.
It's crazy. I saw it.
But the laundry list that the NFL requires is pages.
Yeah.
And that was just one piece. Had we not passed it, they wouldn't have even considered us.
But what it does for Georgia,
it's going to be.
The people coming, and some people drive through our state. Think about people from Florida driving up and stopping in Valdosta or Dublin, or it's not just for Atlanta. I know it's going to be in Atlanta, but Metro Atlanta profits, and of course the state of Georgia profits.
Right. And there's so many. Those ticket prices are just. I had somebody that wanted me to try to help them get tickets for the last year out in Denver, and I helped them get them. But it was just they paid for. I mean, it was I don't know. I think they were like $1,500 a piece. I mean, I'm
sitting right there in my living room.
Yeah, I'm watching it in my own chair.
Because usually it's not that good. The last few years have been pretty good.
If Bebe's in there, it's great.
We all for it.
That's right.
Yeah, and he's been a lot of football players get in trouble for different things, but
great.
Demarius, and I tell this story about him a lot, knowing him. If you ran into him at Belk or somewhere in town, you would not, unless you know him, you would not know he is a professional NFL player, because he's such a humble person. And just what he does for our community, coming back every year and doing the football camp and helping people at Christmas, and
you know, he spoke at the civic luncheon a couple of years ago, and
Yes.
I had the honor of helping give him his green jacket and all that. He was truly taken aback. I mean, he loved it.
Yeah,
he was
and when
thankful.
I interviewed him before that, because I know how he is, but I got there before the crowd got there, and he said, "Hold on, James." The camera was on. He said, "Hold on." He said, "I'm just so nervous." I said, "Baby, you know, you're on ESPN and ABC and all these networks." He said, "Yeah,
people."
That's what he said. He
right.
said, "But James, this is my hometown."
That's right.
I said, "Well, it's just me and you here now. Just relax, and we'll edit out just like me and you here. We'll edit out any things that go wrong." But before we go, Larry Walker, our new state senator, and of course we miss Senator Tollison. First of all, do you talk to Senator Tollison much?
I haven't talked to him, but I've kept in touch with what's going on. Ross has got a lot of things going on, and we need to pray for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's. I don't think old age is going to be friendly to Ross.
Yeah,
Of course, I don't know if it's friendly to anybody, but
I don't know why they call it the golden years anyway.
He's having a tough time.
Yeah.
So
And we
he,
love
you'll
Senator
see him out. He's
Tollison.
doing good, but he's
Yeah.
got a rough road.
Yeah, he does. And of course, Alzheimer's affects so many, and in the next 30 years, I see the numbers. It's going to double, you know, as we get older.
Maybe they'll find some.
I hope so, because we could be in the same situation one day.
Definitely.
I mean, but we love Senator Tollison. He's been so good to our community, District 20, and of course to our community. But with that said, Senator Walker has jumped in and filled his shoes.
Yeah, he's doing a great. He's very involved. Everybody knows him. He's come in and
Good
doing a great
family,
job.
yeah.
He and I work closely on 2 or 3 things. He always calls and asks what do I think? Give me the rest of the story of this, because he doesn't, he hasn't been over here as much as Ross did, but Larry's got I think he's got a successful insurance business, but it's rather small. So when he's not there, they know he's not there.
That's right.
And he's got to be there.
Yeah, but I've seen him quite a few times.
No,
But
he's around.
He's trying to.
Just got to plan. He's
That's right.
You got to make sure he plans in advance a little bit.
Yeah, but I think he's doing a great job. I'm sure y'all have a great relationship there. And of course, Bubba Epps, I feel like I've known him my whole life. He's just that kind of guy. Once you get to know him, he'll do anything for you. He's very involved in the community.
Bubba's great. Bubba is more active than anybody in the I know. Because he represents either 6 or 7 counties, and one of them's Bibb County, and he
goes from Dry Branch to Dexter or wherever.
To the base. I mean, he represents Houston County, so he is all over, and he's like, I don't know how you would do that and not be retired, because he's at everything.
And dressed like $1 million.
Yeah, he always.
I don't want to stand
I tell
next
you,
to him.
it makes me look bad.
Yeah, I always tell him I don't want to stand next to him, but him and his wife both just
Catherine,
wonderful people.
Right,
and of course Jimmy Pruitt. Y'all got a great constituency, don't you?
Talking to Jimmy yesterday, great.
Yeah,
great people.
Mr. Pruitt.
We got the project in Cadwell on the prison is in play. Again, it's been in the budget several times, and at the last minute it gets somebody else gets something else. But I think all the plans are in place, everything's ready. The commissioner, the Department of Juvenile Justice, DJJ, has it now. They're the keeper of the prison in Cadwell, and they've got the plan. Everything's ready to go. So, which last time they weren't, but they're ready now. So I'm hoping it stays. So
that would be great. It's sit
be
idle.
Good. More job. I mean, it's just that actually it's in Lawrence County now, and it's Jimmy Pruitt's part of his district now.
Right.
But I mean, it's Lawrence County. So
it's Cadwell.
That's right.
So it is our community, and you said earlier, Middle Georgia, whether it's Eastman or McRae or wherever, Soperton, Wrightsville, whatever. I mean, we're all one community.
Right.
I mean, we are all one. But with President-elect Trump coming in, what do you feel about that, and what do you feel about the economic outlook this next year?
I think you're already seeing some things occur that may not have occurred had he not won. But I mean, you're going to see some changes. It may, you know, there's been a little talk with us in the legislature. It may require, several years ago they told me they took a 2 or 3 week break just because of changes that were taking place and how it may affect our budget. So we may have to put the brakes on just to, and not that we know anything yet, but he's, you know, I know he's going to be putting a lot of people in these agencies that are going to be changing some things. And you know, you're watching what's, you know, the Federal Reserve took a little bump in interest rates, and I think you may see some more of that. Of course, I don't know it all, but just from what everybody's saying, I mean.
But if he'll cut regulations on business, small businesses like we are, your wife, or businesses right here in town, and because that's quite a burden people don't, and it's passed on to the consumer.
Well, you know, there's all the talk of repealing of, you know, Obamacare, and there's going to be, I haven't studied Tom Price's plan, but there's going to be some sort of insurance coverage, but it's not, I think that it's not going to be a requirement, you know, because you got so many people that are now covered. It's just got to be, you know, I think it's terrible that it's a law mandating that you have life insurance. I mean, health insurance. Right. So we'll see. We'll see how that's going to be. There'll be a lot going on.
Yep. Well, good. Well, good luck on the 2017 session. I know you're excited about it. And last question: what's the most fun part about your job?
Helping people. Yeah. You asked me that. I mean, you know, I had somebody yesterday call that it's an insurance issue, and they are actually in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with their child, and they could not get a decision of moving their child for some therapy that the child needed from their insurance carrier. And I got on the phone with 3 different people, and in 3 hours they were approved and they're moving. I mean, that makes, you know, makes you feel good. I mean, it's just, and I, you know, it's just things just get caught in the stack. I mean, it wasn't like they were not going to get it, but, you know, with the holiday and with this, and there weren't as many people at work, you know, just one of those, these people need, you know, they're not, and they're like, are they your concern? Yeah, they live in my district, but they're trying to get the best treatment for their child. They need help. You know?
And that's so important. And I believe, dear friend.
And I'm not always.
No, you can't always.
Do it, but it's great to be able to help people.
But you try.
Right.
And a dear friend of both ours, Dr. J. Roy Rowland, set the bar really high because, as you know, when he was in the legislature and Congress, you call Dr. Rowland and you got a problem with your Social Security check or whatever. He was getting somebody on the phone to get it handled. And I still hear stories. He's been out for years now. But what another great man that serves our community still.
He's incredible.
Just, and I know you still call on him time to time.
We talk.
But wonderful person. But we started about our community. We'll end there, but we live in a wonderful community.
We do. We sure do. I love it.
Well, I appreciate you always taking my call.
I like seeing Atlanta in the rearview mirror because I know I'm going home.
Ain't that the truth? It's always, and I like to go to Atlanta.
I like to go too, but when you're there, you know, it's nice to go back, but after about 3 or 4 days, it's time to come home.
And when you see that Lawrence County sign out on I-16, that's great, isn't it? Well, thank you for always taking my call and taking the time to talk with us.
Thanks for having me.
And I know the viewers really appreciate it.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And you've seen Matt's email on the screen as we've talked, and we'll repeat it one more time, but you call him or email him for anything you need. Thanks again, Matt, and thank you for joining us today.